On a brand new episode of Chat in the Coliseum, today we have a very special guest. En un capítulo nuevo de Charlando en el Coliseo tenemos un invitado muy especial. We have a former first rounder, a man that played in the greatest hockey league in the world. We have the one and only Emerson Etem. Usually we do a Spanglish type of thing, but today is going to be all in English with subtitles at the end. So first and foremost, Mr. Emerson Etem, welcome to Chat in the Coliseum. How are you, sir?
Yair Mendoza. I mean, what an intro. I love it. I thought you were going to bust out one of the trumpet, like the mariachi trumpet. What do the Dodgers do? What did the girl mess up on? She got some flack on one of the Hispanic players coming out songs or whatever.
I think she, like, it was the lyrics or something like that she got confused.
Well, she was playing the trumpet. She was playing the trumpet. I didn't even think it sounded that bad. But anyway, I thought you were going to have like a little trumpet intro. But hey, your voice in that intro was better than a trumpet intro. Yeah,
we're working on it. We're getting it off the ground. I think I mentioned to you. So I think this project's been going on for 3 months now. So it hasn't been that long. But next time we do, another recording, or I'll give you one better. If you're agreed to it, I'll come down to California and I'll bring a trumpet. We'll do a live session and we'll record it live.
Yeah. Pump the brakes. Hey, let's see how this one goes. Let's see how the first pod goes, Yair.
Okay.
I'm down. You bring trumpet, and we'll both be vocals. We'll be co-vocals. You got trumpet. I got the little Spanish guitar.
Okay. If this goes well, we could take it on the road, because I need the extra income, to be honest.
This podcast is worldwide. We might as well be worldwide with the mariachi music too, yeah.
That is true. It's one of my favorites. So yeah, we have Emerson Etem today with us. He's a wrong winger who shot left. And for people who don't know or might know, he was drafted in the first round, which to me is a big deal. First round, that's a big thing. You were drafted 29th, correct, by the Ducks in the 2010 draft?
You nailed it.
Okay, so I'm going to start off with, I'm going to give you a date, and I want you, without thinking, the very first thing that comes to mind. What does March 18th, 2013 mean for Emerson? What does that mean for you?
Hey, it's a big day, I mean, it's one of those things where I think if you're like myself, or a lot of guys who make it to the respective level in any sport, the top level in any field, and that's sports or not, that's sports, doctor, lawyer, you name it. It's a shift in, shift out mentality in hockey, or it's a minute by minute mentality in those other fields. So for me, that day's no different, right? For me, hockey, shift in, shift out, short-term mindset, same with that day. But what a spectacular day. It was a day I'll never forget, but it's almost like one thing led to another, right? I mean, that whole time, that whole window that I was a part of those moments, it's, time slows down. It's a minute by minute thinking, short-term thinking. Don't think about, what's going on in a couple months, year. So just really taking it all in here.
So give a little context to our audience. If my research was correct, that was the day that you scored your first goal, correct? Against Anaheim of the Sharks. Is that, did I get that right?
Close. Yeah. Anaheim. Yes. Okay. On a great feed from Daniel Winnick. Yes. Winnie was a guy. And I remember that play. It was a great entry by Winnie there. He stopped up, if I'm not mistaken, facing the play, which it's a huge skill set. If any, young audience and the listeners are young playing hockey, if you have more than that stick length distance from the pressure player, stop up facing the play. Why delay facing the wall when you can see the play? No different than basketball. I'm speaking, it's pretty simple thinking, but those types of, that type of thinking, that type of mentality, right, goes a long way. In a basketball, you don't want to turn your back to the play, right? I'm assuming that you want to just make sure you're facing the play or doing the best to your ability in doing that. That's what Winnie did, right? He just stopped up facing the play, saw the whole ice. He saw me just ripping through. Yeah, come on. I was going a million miles an hour through the neutral zone, dot lane, if I'm not mistaken, might have been mid-ice, but I was just flying. And yeah, the area pass, and it was just so pinpoint because I was going so fast, and it was a hard pass. I still had a reach. I think it was a one-hand reach, and then I wasted no time. I just upper corner. So no, it was fantastic.
So after, going into the archives, because you had already been kind of semi-pro, right? Or at the junior levels with the Medicine Hat Tigers. right? I
You're
did
nailing it.
find a date, and you could correct me if I got the numbers wrong, but in, let's see, 2000, and I think it was 2011 or 2012, you scored 61 goals in 65 games. Does that sound right? Or
That's not a typo here. That's not a typo.
okay,
I'm
so
I'm like you in high school football back in the day, just pure domination.
if it wasn't for that knee injury, man, no.
Hey, happens to the best of us.
So going from like a semi-pro team or a pro team at the juniors, and then going to the NHL. When you score that goal, like, was it a moment of, like, because you said it was something like normal, but did you realize it that, like, oh, I'm here now, or was it just kind of like another moment? Was it different or no?
To say it was another moment that'd be almost selfish, right? I mean, it was a spectacular moment. It was a moment that I had dreamt of my whole entire life, and yeah, I always knew that I wanted to play hockey for a living, and I wanted to make money doing what I love to do. That's in itself, no matter what sector you're in. I mean, that's special. And yeah, I think it all kind of hit right there. Like all the hard work, all the training, blood, sweat, tears, no cheating, no cutting corners, just pure dedication. And yeah, it's rewarding. So, but going back to how I described it initially, I mean, just moment by moment, right? Just it's like boom, yeah, scored, but hey, we got the next shift, let's not dwell on it. Let's not, get complacent here. And that's what the highest level is, right? I mean, I don't think any which player, I mean, these first NHL goals, I never was fortunate enough to win a Stanley Cup, but for those who had, I'm assuming, it's the same thing. It's just one of those moments that, it's undescribable, right? And so, yeah, it was no different, but no different if you win the Stanley Cup. Anyone who's won it has been lucky enough to win, the most famous trophy in sports. You got one off season, and then boom, you're back on the grind, right? You're trying to win another one the very next season. So it's a shift out mentality in hockey. No different there in that sequence. That's why I brought it up. It's boom, scored, great, fist bumps all around, and just on to the next shift.
Now, were you able to get that puck given to you, or how does that work? Because in baseball, when they usually hit their first home run or their first hit, they usually grab that game ball and then give it to that player because it's a very special moment of, like you said, years of hard culminating work. Do you have that puck, or what happened to that puck?
It's a great question. Yeah, and someone grabs. So anytime a big monumental stat is reached or a record's broken, you name it. Typically, a leader on the ice. I mean, you kind of got to be aware, right? Because it's like the game's so fast. Sometimes these games 5, 6, 7-3, 4, whatever the score is, could be high scoring, right? And when you're in the thick of it in a game, Johnny scored his first NHL goal, but it's all tied up 4 apiece, right? So it typically someone who is on it will read it, but there's so many things going on throughout the game. So one person on the ice, if not all 5 guys, realize, boom, Johnny, first National Hockey League goal, someone gets it. So I didn't. I'm trying to think. I don't think I picked up my puck. No, I think I just started the train there. But yeah, someone picked up a puck. Whoever was one of the other 4 skaters on the ice picked up the puck, and it was a moment I'll never forget. So the trainer gets it. At the time, it was Sluggo, longtime National Hockey League and Anaheim Duck trainer, and Muggsy, who's there now. That was his assistant at the time. But they handled it. They packaged it up and get it all nice and framed. And actually, the cool thing is, so you'll have. So I was able to retrieve the puck just by Sluggo handing me the puck. You get a picture. So the media will take a picture of the puck. And so the plaque in my old bedroom in my parents' house, it is it's like the picture of me holding the puck. It's got the stat sheet of, goal, myself, and just the time, assisted by, so on and so forth. And so it's got the stat sheet. So yeah, puck, my picture with the puck smiling after the game, and then that stat sheet all in one frame. So it's pretty darn cool.
Since you brought up like plaques and moments like that, I also know that you won a bronze medal 2011 with the USA team at the juniors. How was that? Was that like a culminating moment in your life as well? Winning that bronze medal, or can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, 100%. Buffalo, New York, got a little bit of trouble there to start the tournament, but I won't
Emerson.
talk about it. I've talked about that enough. So anyway, had to shrug it off, scored in my first game, and then, man, we were rolling. We had Kyle Palmieri on that team, so now he's with the New York Islanders. Who else? We got, the list went on and on with NHL. We had a great team. I think Jack Campbell was on that team. Who else? He stole the show in net there. But the list went, we had, I'm trying to just go over the names. We had a great team the following year, JT Miller, Trouba. Who else was on so Chris Kreider would have been on that gold medal winning team there in Buffalo. I had my good buddy from Cali, Mitch Callahan. He was on it. That was fun to be a part just of the tournament with him. 2 California guys. And we had a good team. We had a team, Cam Fowler. Yeah, we had a team just stacked of just talented future National Hockey Leaguers. So Charlie Coyle was on that team too. So we were rolling. We had a good team. Finished bronze. That Russian team, man, they really brought it. I think they had Kuznetsov at the time. Kuznetsov, Tarasenko. Those guys were so good. Yeah, those guys were so good. Yeah, Tarasenko and Kuznetsov, that tournament. They were already popular. They're already, well known, but it gave them just worldwide, pretty much superstar status at that time. They were just absolutely filthy. Coming in, just sniping big time goals and big time moments. So yeah, they were a force to be reckoned with for sure.
So I did, again, I tried to do my homework, and you come from a family of athletes, right? I think your mom qualified for the U.S. team in rowing back in the 80s, but because of the boycott, and then she didn't actually participate, and I think your brother played sport. So you come from a family that's like athletes, and you said when you were young. So what age did you think you could say that you're like, I want to be a professional hockey player? Like, when did that start for you?
What are you trying to say here? You're saying my bloodline is top tier when it comes to athletics, I guess?
I think so, yeah. Hats off to you, because you know this. We all know this. To make it to the highest level, to having played in the best hockey league in the world. Not everybody gets it. So, but you said, is it one of those, like, you were 5 years old and a young Emerson Etem was like, "Hey, Dad, I want to be a professional hockey player," or did you have other things in mind, or were you just focused on that was your life goal and making it happen?
That's exactly how I said it. How you just did it here is exactly how I told my pops. Now, I had a bunch of videos of old VHS highlight style. So they had Rock'em Sock'em back in the day. Okay. Don Cherry. We had this Ice Hot with John Davidson narrating. Those were great just movies. Not movie, but docu highlights, kind of like a docu-series, so to speak. Just phenomenal. So I didn't have cable growing up. I always went to my buddy's house. We'd have a big game, big tournament, whatever. And then I would just sleep over. I would use the what out of my friends' Netflix and whatever we had back in the day accounts, because we didn't have cable. So even in the Ducks games, I would take up the KCAL 9, the non cable channels. So it was one of those things where I just kind of ate up anything I could, and going to buddy's house, just watching big games, after some, like I said, big tournaments when we were just playing. And so, I just think that's where it kind of began. It's like that in combination of me just watching the games, knowing that these guys were getting paid big money to do what they love. Of course, had a concept and a wherewithal when it came to money just as a kid, right? And then hockey, it's like you put the two together. It's like, I can make a living playing the game I love. It's like no brainer. So that was kind of always my thing. It's just like I put all my eggs in one basket just and went for it. And that's pretty much anyone who makes it to the top of their respective fields. That's what they got to do, all in. I had all in mentality since, so I started when I was 4, roller hockey, moved ice when I was 6, and kind of the rest is history. But for me, they're just the bloodline. You kind of touched on my mom, Olympian. Dad rode in the Navy. That's how they met. My mom rode at Cal. Sister rode at Cal. Brother rode at Syracuse. I was the only non-rower. And it's just a athletic family. It just seemed like we never even ate at the table. We were just always doing someone was somewhere working on their craft. So we were competitive background, and we just pushed the limit as a family. And I wouldn't want to have it any other way. That's for sure.
You know, you mentioned, the money aspect of it, and growing up as a child, you're like, oh, I could get paid for something that I like, because and I know a little bit, but a lot of people don't realize that. To me, hockey is probably the most expensive sport to play, or yeah, all the training camps, the stakes are a bunch, the pads. Like hockey, I mean, you could tell it's a little better, but hockey is just expensive to play, right? I mean, especially from a young age, as you keep on growing, and you gotta change pads, you gotta change this, you gotta buy stakes of that. So, because the reason why I mentioned it is because when I was a kid, I think I told you briefly, but I started playing out hockey actually. But my mom claims that I begged her to switch me over to soccer. Now, I'm not saying that, I could have been in the league with you, because, I don't know if I was that good, but I think honestly that my mom was just realized how expensive it was. And then she made the choice of switching me to soccer. But sometimes I do think, Emma, I'm like, how different would my life would have turned out if I would have stuck with the hockey and not gone the soccer route. But when you're growing up and you're like, I can make money off of this. Now, after doing a little bit of research, do you go and live? Because I think I saw that you moved to like the US training facilities and stuff. So is it something that your whole family goes to, or you kind of, ship yourself out to train, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's an issue that a lot of hockey families, hockey players deal with every season. And our family had to have that difficult discussion. I was pretty much tapped out when it came to California. I feel like I peaked out just as far as overall talent. I mean, we had 4 NHLs on my Pee Wee team: Bo Bennett, Matt Nieto, Jason Zucker, myself. And so it just, I mean, they played another year. Bo a couple other years. I think Matt played one more year in Cali, then left. Zux, I can't remember what he did. But long story short, I just feel like I capped myself. And plus, at school, I wasn't into school anymore as far as, no one was as driven as me. Like no one had as much spark as me. I knew that. And that's why I was just like, you know what? I just need to be surrounded by just straight hockey. So I went to the very famous hockey preparatory school in Faribault, Minnesota, Shattuck St. Mary's. That was a fantastic 2 years for me. Played Bantam AAA, and I was just coming off a bad knee injury. Went knee on knee in Montreal there that summer. And luckily they had the Mayo Clinic there. And so, or one of their branches. So right down the road, it was incredible. So I went to this office, and they had this machine. I can't blank it on the name. It's pretty much like a leg extension, quad extension, hamstring extension in once, but you push it back and forth. Just got my leg back to where it needed to be. It was incredible. Like, I don't know if at that time, if I didn't have that, I just don't know where I would have been at circumstantially. So anyway, recovered very quick once I got to Minnesota, and my knee was lagging. Like it took me the whole summer, no gains health wise. And then I found that little clinic there. And then within, I'd say the first month, I was back cooking a little bit. 2 months, forget about it. And I think I had like 90 points in 60 odd game, but just like, it was like 90 for me. And then the next guy was like, maybe a point a game. It was just pure domination. And so Bantam, lucky enough to play. And this is the crazy part. So I had another difficult decision with my mom. Well, conversation with my mom, and she was like, you better make that prep team the next year, or, it's an expensive prep team, or it's an expensive prep school, right? So she's like, she looked me in the eye, she's like, you better make that prep team. I'm like, yes, ma'am. And I went out, crushed it. That training camp. So it's kind of like in a movie at Shattuck. It's just like you have your tryout, and back in the time it was just newly done, new building. And in fact, I don't know if my first year, no, maybe both years I can't remember, but I know it was like whatever year was like the first year with the second building, the new building, the old one, the original one, just a beautiful wood ceiling, just pretty. It's kind of matches, kind of in the same family of barns as in, if any of the listeners in the rinks, Anaheim Ice, same thing, where it was just got this outdoor wood barn feeling. It's fantastic. So anyway, that was Shattuck, and yeah, I tore it up my first year there. Ended up making the prep team. I remember a dirty move out of camp there. It was like a one-handed boom. Like I stuck my one hand, and I deep, just totally pinched, bad angle on me. I was faking outside, went one-handed, wrapped the puck around him, went the other, like outside back in, wrapped the puck around, and just snipe Barty. But anyway, these, how they make a team, it's like a movie. You make your 3-4 appearances on the ice, get a couple workouts in, and then it's like Sunday morning, probably whatever morning on the week, Saturday or Sunday morning, everyone's talking about like all week who's going to make the prep team. That's the big thing, on campus prep team. It's the show, right? Friday nights, you're watching the prep team. Long story short, like movie style, we'll call it Sunday morning after a week of just brewing gossip, just everyone's talking about it. 8.5-inch, 11-inch piece of print paper, boom, on the old ice rink's front doors, just taped on old school style. And boom, everyone huddled around seeing who's making that prep team. And yeah, I knew I dominated. Like with the camp I had, I was like, there's no way I'm not making the team. So anyway, made it. That was big, vindicated, at least in terms of, tough discussion with my mom. Not that she doubted me. I mean, she, just a tough discussion, and we made it happen. So that was fun. I played those 2 years there in prep, but that's kind of just going back to your original question. That's just kind of it. I capped out in California. Just, this is it for me, and just wanted to put my name on the map, and I certainly did.
So you were a man on a mission from an early age. You're like, you had a
100%.
goal in mind, you saw what you wanted to do, and then you zeroed in, focused, and nothing stopped you. And you were a speed demon, right? I seen some of the tape, some of the footage, and you were a speedster, who had a quick release, a good shot. And then now how important, because you said you felt like California, I'm like, okay, I'm done here. Do you think that if you would have stayed, or not left to that prestigious school in Minnesota, would it affected? Like, is that just something that you naturally do as a player going up, especially when you're that good and you're that gifted? Do you have to change scenery, and does that open more doors?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, for me, it was, like I said, like I wanted to be just hockey, everything, consume hockey, that be the world. So you're in the dorm, the rink is, a football field away. It's one of those things where it's.
Sorry, so is it like the Mighty Ducks 3, where they get accepted into that prestigious school and then they live
That's
there?
where it's filmed. Yep.
Okay, that's basically what you experienced, like living on campus with your teammates, going to class, and then hockey every day, basically.
If I'm not mistaken, I think it's filmed there. I could be wrong.
Okay.
Is that what you meant? Or for sure it's filmed there?
No, I think that's what I meant. I don't know if it's filmed there, honestly, but I'm just saying,
it's
like,
honestly filmed there.
okay.
I could be wrong. We're gonna fact check this. Sometimes I
we'll
spew
fact
out
check it,
fake
yeah.
news here. You know that.
Yeah,
So we're gonna
sometimes.
fact check this. But if I'm not mistaken, the scene, especially with the Bash brothers, they're going at it. I can't off the top of my head, but you're honest of it. So yeah, like it's about setting the standard. It's about making it your world, but it doesn't have to be that way. So I wanted to touch on, I'm a dog here. I mean, we're dogs here, So it's just, you have that alpha mentality regardless. I always tell, because I still work with 8-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 14-year-olds on the ice, just going through demonstrations, showing them the habits and skills that the game's best are doing. And I always say, you don't have to leave. You don't have to leave. People are going to find you. So that's what I always say. I always say people are going to find you. And that's that.
Now, going through the juniors, and then, the Medicine Hat Tigers, once you get drafted, and, it takes because sometimes, you go in between, I read that you got offered basically like a two-way contract, right? You played like most of the season with the NHL team, and then, sometimes you play with their affiliates. Now, after you made that full swing into the NHL, which I think in 2013 you had, I think 3 goals in the playoff series against the Detroit Red Wings. Now,
Yeah.
do you remember that?
100%. No, it was hot. Yeah, it was me, Palmieri, David Steckel, actually. We acquired him at the deadline. He was winning every draw. We had the forward line matchup. Oh, we were crushing it. 100%. I remember that. Yeah.
Now, you played with the Ducks, had a good few years with them, and then you get traded to the Rangers, have a good stay there. And then based what if I saw in research, you had a kind of like a resurgence in your game with the Canucks. Tell us a little bit about, how it is kind of switching, living Anaheim to New York, and then to the Vancouver Canucks. How is that for you mentally, physically? And then, I believe you're married. I don't know if you were married at that point, but how is that?
Yeah, no, it's it's unlike a lot of things. I mean, it's just, maybe it's like being a flight attendant or just one of the jobs where you're traveling just nonstop. But for me, just kind of my story, I probably had a routine, post junior first year type of experience. And when I say routine, it wasn't in a sense logistically. I mean, it was a lockout year. So it was anything but routine when it comes to just having a full normal season. But as far as, getting that amount of games, so it was lockout short and they played about half the year. So we were half the year in the minors, and Palmieri, Devo Smith-Pelland, he already played the year before. Just the list goes on and on about guys that, who else? Camden gets sent down. Obviously, he played the full year. We had the Peter Holland. And so I just, we had just a great roster of young talent. And so anyway, we played the lockout. So I played, many games I played that first lockout year. I'm blanking on the amount of American League games, but I played the rest of the year pretty much. So what happened, I got called up for 2 weeks, I think, got sent back down for a quick minute, and then I got called up again, and I was there for the rest of the year. So I think, played like 37 games or something like that my first year. It was a lockout year. So what it was like, I think it was out of 48, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but it was like 37 out of 48 or something like that. So played, for the most part, full season circumstantially. And then, I just my momentum kept going. I was rolling, heavily utilized on the PK. They led my speed, playing great north-south hockey, 200-foot game, and just crushed it in playoffs. Just absolutely, I'd say, Getzlaff led the team in points, but, big time moments, stepping up, myself. Palmieri was big time too, but I was right there in the conversation of team's best player. It was so unfortunate. Next preseason, I went knee-on-knee with Rafi Torres, and I actually posted about it maybe like 5 years ago now. Maybe it's even closer to 6 or 7 now. Just randomly, just wanted to get my story out, and then I showed the video. And just boom, like it was just. So it happened in preseason of the following year. So I crushed it against the Red Wings, took it to Game 7, 5 points in 7 games, like you were touching on, and then great summer training. Just came in, still did rookie camp at the start, was buzzing. Power play, you name it. And even at the time, I had 3 points in the first 2 games in preseason, just taking that momentum. And then that game, so it was like I had already scored in that game. Great pass from Devo, net front, and went 5-hole on whoever the Tindy was. And boom, just moments later, a couple shifts later, I was trying to hold the line, stuck my knee out, looking the other way, and then Torres just comes out. Boom, takes out my knee. So anyway, I was just never the same after that. I mean, it's one of those things where and it was actually the same knee as I touched on earlier that I had in Montreal. Oh, that would have been the summer. 607, I think, was my first year, if I'm not mistaken, at Shattuck. So it would have been the summer of 6 when I had my first knee-on-knee. For the most part, full recovery, right? But, you have 2 bad, high speed, high impact. It's like a car, you got to salvage the car once it's, if it's bad enough. And I never got back to the numbers are what they are, I never got back to playoffs, point a game level of hockey consistently. I had spurts, but, you got 200-pound dudes in the corner trying to battle for a puck and they're giving you cross checks in the back. I mean, all that pressure. It just, you have to be the best fully healthy, right? I mean, it's the game's highest level. Guys play through injuries, but those are minor, contusions. I'm not, players play through stuff, but Elatrosh and some of these doctors, high-end orthopedic surgeons, Ducks got some great doctors, obviously. But, it's one of those things where you can fix a lot of the time, ACL, ligament, this, that, if there's not too much impact, but you go into like, deep bruising, cartilage. It's just hard. It's a different kind of ball game. So anyway, I played. So all these years you're talking about, I probably played a cup of coffee more after that. I played, after that last Ducks stint. So I went to Vancouver. Well, from the Ducks, Rangers. I just wasn't the same. It was just unfortunate. I never got back to that full peak, full health, consistent, to the point. And I wasn't going to be a guy who was going to go play in year. I mean, I even during the moments where I thought it was okay or whatever, just to get some momentum, I tried playing in Lugano, but I wasn't going to be a guy who, is even being told from the coaches, hey, you need to do this. And it's not getting to the puck quick enough here in this situation or whatever. It wasn't bad. My standards were, just the best of my ability, trying to fulfill everything I dreamt of doing. And when you just don't have that full capability, you shut her down. So anyway, that's just kind of my story. But yeah, I mean, getting drafted by the Ducks, playing those years with the Ducks, the great playoffs with the Ducks. You mentioned the Detroit series, and then Winnipeg, and going eventually, or even the Kings the year prior. We had some great, the 3 seasons, the first chunk of my Ducks stint, we had some great teams, deep playoff runs, Western Conference Finals there against the Blackhawks, losing just narrowly. That was a tough one because we were up 3-2 in the series. That was probably the toughest part about that one. So yeah,
I mean,
it's good that we have Coach Q, right, on the Ducks side, though.
No, for sure. I mean, but going back to that Red Wings playoff series, being in the conversation with Getzlaf, Doug's all-time great, and these other great players it's to me, I would consider that an honor because, like you said, you came out swinging. I think what you said was 5 points in 3 games, or you scored and assisted, and just to have that you actually made a difference for the team is something awesome, that you knew that hey, like, I'm here, and I'm making a difference, and all the hard work that I put in has finally got me here, and now I'm showcasing. And it is unfortunate, like, I was gonna get to that knee injury that you talked about. But to me, I think overall, if I'm not mistaken, you played about 8 years, right, pro. So I mean, that's still to me, at least, is a good time. Maybe, like you said, it wasn't the same after that knee injury, but to me, that's still an accomplishment. Just suiting up at the highest level. But I understand that because you are a dog, you are somebody who holds himself to the highest standard, and I think for you, it was probably a hard decision, but you probably, what, 2020, I'm gonna retire. I'm gonna focus on other ventures, my family. Now, was it a decision that was it kind of hard, or you kind of, like you said, because you were never the same? Was it something that was kind of already in the making of deciding to retire?
It was only easy because of that, right? It was only easy because I knew that if I can't be at my best, even in practices, it's almost like a letdown each and every time you strap them up, right? It's
Yeah.
you're chasing something that you're just not 100%. And so I think it was just happening for so long, to the point where it's just like, it almost settled. And then just when I couldn't take it anymore, it was one of those things where it's just like, I already drained the tank as far as any kind of emotion. So I was ready to go. I was mentally, I just feel like I had to prepare myself, because I knew, something just wasn't right. So yeah, I just think the decision to hang him up, I had a great PTO with the Kings there, scored a couple times in preseason. And then they extended the PTO, and I just was not, knee ballooning up. And then right after that, I was like, I'm done. So yeah, what was that, 2018? So still young at the time. And by that time, my wife was pregnant with our second. So yeah, I went up, and my son was born in Vancouver when I was playing there. So we were like, oh, well, why not try to get our Canadian citizenship, be dual citizens? And yeah, I mean, we were going through that process for a little bit. And then I was just like, I got to get behind a bench. I was helping Willie Desjardins start his academy. And yeah, so I was doing that there for about a year and a bit. And so I was on the ice doing skills, kind of similar to what I'm doing now too, on the side. And I was able to just, pivot like that. And, it was great. It was one of those things where I was able to transition. Like I said, I kind of got all those emotions, not woe was me, but, the sad type of, stuff out of the way. And I was clear-minded and driven. And I was on ice doing, upwards of three sessions a day, and wanted to get behind a bench, was loving it. So yeah, I was hired for a head coach, general manager position with the Missoula Junior Bruins. So it was a pay-to-play Tier 3 junior program in Montana. Beautiful over there. Yeah. Man, the mountains, people are great. So anyway, had a blast there. And yeah, it coached there for 1 year. Had a great year. The owner and the rink management are just kind of an iffy relationship. So the team sold to Rapid City. I wasn't a part of that year. I was not a part of, the bitterness in there. No. The team sold. Yeah.
Let's pump the brakes. Hold on, before you go any further, because you're taking my talking points, man. No, let's pump the brakes. Before anything, though, are you a Canadian then? Is that because you're very Americana. You're very USA first. So are you a Canadian amongst us? Tell me the truth.
USA, baby, USA. Yeah, I had to say this ain't for me. Okay. I tested myself. I tested my America, joy, patriotism, Americana behavior. I tested it, and I'm just too pure Americana here. So anyway, I did that. I had fun. The one thing about people from Canadians in general are just all the stereotypes about them being the just world's nicest people, just 100% true. Strong. So, some of the, I mean, that's why they get some great hockey players. They got that farmer strength, like even Alberta too, but Saskatchewan, Manitoba. I mean, that's a different kind of strength. Those, in those fields, cold winter. I mean, you could only imagine. So it's definitely primal for just breeding just great hockey players.
Them boys are
great
raised
people.
on. I'm sorry, them boys are raised on potatoes and meat and probably a little whiskey or something, because
100%.
Them boys are
100%. The Crown Royal, huh? No, but it's great people, especially in Medicine Hat, where I played juniors, as you alluded to earlier. We went back there. That was the city. And started the academy, was fantastic. And I think it just kind of rebuilt my mindset. I had to kind of, build myself again from the ground up. And it was a time for me to reset. And no victim mentality, no excuses, just got her done.
Okay, I mean that's super awesome, and hats off to you, because sometimes, I was thinking about this and I wanted to ask you too, because it seems like you were able to do a transition. Because in my head, I'm like, what do I do now if I dedicate the last 25 years of my life to something that I love, something that I did on a daily basis? But like you said, you were able to go in coaching. Side note, I do have a family in Canada, in Montreal. We're kind of cool with them. So, but, it's USA and Mexico in this house, right? But so I mean, it seems like you said you wanted to be in the ice, so you became the coach. And after that, according to my research, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, you ended up buying like a junior team. You ended up being owner, head coach, GM, hockey player, all that in Long Beach. Is that right?
Don't be shocked, Yair. Don't be surprised that I put my business acumen to further use there. Yeah, so I learned the back end, and actually in Missoula, the team I was talking about, he was the owner was the chief finance officer for the biggest, or maybe their fourth biggest, top 5 biggest RV leasing companies in the whole U.S., probably the world. And so, I mean, he showed me just back end spreadsheets, you name it. So I felt ready after that 1 year. It sold to South Dakota, Rapid City. We didn't want to move. I was just like, screw it. Let's just, there's a league, USPHL, which was in the same family of leagues there out in California. And I purchased what was a team called the Anaheim Avalanche, rebranded, called them the Long Beach Shredders. Just, water, beach, So anyway, no, I had great financial advice back in the day with one of my great financial mentors. He said, if you can get 3 to 5 times your initial investment in 3 to 5 years, that's pretty darn good. Take it. So anyway, they had the team for 3 years. It was the right time. I didn't know if I was going to be 30 years, 2 years, ended up being 3. So had a blast. Just continue to make business deals,
And like the young kids say,
right?
Like the young kids say, you came up. So you made your money back, got your business going, sold it for a profit, got out, and then, which take us to the next point, when you get hired by the Ducks in 2023 as the Raider color analyst. How was that? I guess essentially maybe coming back home. Was it kind of full circle moment going back to the team that drafted you into the league? How was that? How did that happen too?
Yeah, that's a great question. So actually, the year I sold the junior team, I had the Shredders, and shout out to Josh Fitzgerald and the Fishmeister there, just great people, Curtis Fisher. And So they're, wonderful owners who are passing on the torch and doing big things. So I plan to go to games this upcoming season. So just continuing to support local hockey here, that's for sure. But I actually had the junior team for 1 year simultaneously while I was doing my broadcast. So it would have been my second year of owning the Shredders. I did a fill-in. They were moving on from longtime color analyst Dan Wood there, and they were testing some people, and I filled the seat. And yeah, I filled the seat. Did one game, crushed it. They're like, how the heck, yada yada yada. Just relaying what I know, and that's Adam Oates and Daryl Belfry, two great hockey minds. Just their knowledge, their vocabulary. So I crushed it my lone shot. And I didn't think, or I didn't know if that was going to be, and it was I think that might have been the second to last game of the season. So anyway, it was in the nitty gritty as far as because I remember Jackson and Comer getting a game there, and they had some young guys up that looked really solid. And actually, Nikita Nestorenko looked really solid and shifty in that game too. But anyway, yeah, crushed it. And yeah, I not that I didn't hear, I was in long discussions with just a lot of the same people, they have now who are running the ship. And yeah, I just, they liked my lone appearance enough. They knew just I was deep rooted in the hockey community, long lineage of ties with the Anaheim Ducks organization. So they felt it fit. And, I'm 20 minutes down the road. Why not? I mean, it's been a blast. And yeah, no, the climate with the Ducks is fantastic. I mean, just great people, nice people, team-oriented, team first mentality type people, great mix of business. I mean, how about the marketing? Yeah, you see it. Just the orange, DJ Jojo, Honda Center, the upgrades, OC Vibe, the list goes on. It's just one of those things where they got the business acumen, of course, and Henry Samueli he just continues to crush it. So him and Susan, and look, it's one of those things where I think the sky's the limit for this team. And yeah, that's kind of how it all started with just the Ducks. So I ended up, I did that bit there, my second season of owning the Shredders. So my third season of owning the Shredders was my first full season in the color role. So here I am, half hour before puck drop, and I'm ordering pizzas, for my team on a road trip before hopping on air. So anyways, it's business is the bad business. It gets you so strong. And
so the real question is, what have you done? I mean, are you going to run for president next? You've been a professional player. You've been a coach. You've been a owner coach. You've been a GM. Now you're on the air, which, I mean, what haven't you done? I mean, what's before I get into that, because that's actually how we met. For our audience, for all my viewers and followers, that's how you and I met, working together on the broadcast. You doing what you do, and you are a killer, man, because having a 1-game tryout basically to go in and call the game, and then they like you enough, because we both know that it's very hard to get into the ambience. Shout out to Steve Carroll, who 50 years and has been with the Ducks, forever, wishing better things. But you and I know that it's kind of hard. And then you've been with the team for about 4 years now, being the color analyst?
Yes. So it's been 3 seasons. This upcoming one's going to be my 4th season. So it's one of those things where, yeah, it's that going back to, nailing that first tryout, if you will, minute by minute mentality, right? Not thinking about the end of the game, not thinking about the final buzzer, thinking about thinking about puck drop, right? And just going in it with that dog eat dog mentality. And yeah, that's how you win in life. So anyway, that's what I did. But going back to maybe the most important thing, maybe even this whole podcast, Yair, Etem Mendoza 2028, is that are you hinting at something? Are you hinting at a Emerson Etem presidential run, Yair Mendoza right by my side as my running mate? What are your initial thoughts on that? How does that sound?
Let's do it. I'm ready. You give me the call, I'll show up. I'm ready. I think I think we both love this country. And it needs a little change for the better overall. We're not gonna get into those type of discussions, but I'm ready. You say
no, we're not. But it's gonna be Americana. It's gonna be full Americana.
You say when? I'll show up. I like that. Edom Mendoza. I like
Edom
the sound of
Mendoza.
that. Yeah. So
I guess I just took the nomination. Hey, we
hey,
didn't even discuss it. I just took it.
that's fine with me. I'm more of a background. As long as
You're the
things
glue
get
guy.
done. I'm what holds the ship together, right?
You're the glue guy.
It's one of those where I don't really care about getting the credit as long as we get it done, right? Get her done, right? So, but now, being on the air, and traveling. Before I forget, shout out to Alexis Downey, who we both work with. Shout out AD, hope she's doing well, and hopefully she'll be my next guest. Because you do travel with the team, does that kind of give you flashbacks of being in a different city every single night, being in a hotel, or is that tiring too? Did you miss that, or do you love being back in that setting as well?
It's fantastic. Yeah, it reminds me for sure of being a player. I mean, you essentially are without the blood, sweat, and tears that they go through, right? I mean, it's just it's the travel. It's the same. So you're to give the listeners kind of the feel. It's being on the road. You take not the same bus. There's two buses on the way to the airport, but it is two buses from the rink, Great Park Ice practice. Sometimes they practice before leave, sometimes not. But bus from there, two buses. Players always take the lead. Players are always number one, so they'll be in the first bus. Staff will be in that bus right behind. And so that's how it is. I mean, we're essentially same buses and routes, same planes, hotels. They pregame skate. Media's there, discussing about the game. We're at a lot of where the players are on a lot of these road trips, and even at home, pregame skate, you're in the locker room. A lot of media's in the locker room twice a day. One for pregame skate, one postgame. So that's the dynamic. And so yeah, going back to your question, a lot of similarities between my travel schedule, being a broadcaster, and my former playing days for sure.
So, before we kind of get, moving forward to other points, let's talk a little bit about the Ducks, if you don't mind. Like you said, electric team, one of the youngest teams in the league. This last season, excuse me, they made the playoffs for the first time in 8 years. We're both a part of that. It was super freaking awesome. Where do you see this team going in the next few years? Because you recall, I tell you, I honestly think we're a contender, a Stanley Cup contender the next 3 to 5 years. I think we could do that. Do you feel the same, or what do you think?
100%. Yeah, Leo Carlson's happy. He got rewarded what in my mind's deserved. It just he's without a doubt, if not he's in the conversation of one of the most skilled guys in the National Hockey League. But without a doubt, as far as him and how elite he can be, I think 100% Leo Carlsson has the opportunity to be the best player in the league within this next 5-year window. And so I think that speaks a lot about him as a person, player, and where he's at in his respective career. I mean, just to be where he's at right after his entry-level contract is phenomenal. And now he's got the opportunity, once again, to be in Radko not back. There's captaincy on the line. Does Leo get it? I just, everything's setting up for him to, be the guy. So it's one of those things where, yeah, he's going to lead this team, and hopefully we get Cutter signed here in the next coming days. And yeah, you have two guys up front in Leo and Cutter, and then with this now almost a household name, Beckett Seneca. You have those three guys, the two solidified, and then one guy who's got to just take it up another notch in Beckett Seneca, which is that's asking a lot. That's saying a lot if he can do it. That's three pieces that this is going to be. It's like, okay, there's sprinkling some veterans in there with Trouba and Carlson there late, and John Carlson speaking. Now it's shaping up to be, back to somewhat younger team. Luneau, is it a guy that he gets a full-time shot? I certainly think, just with the big-time game he had there late in the season where he tallied a big-time goal, I think it's his time after taking over the American Hockey League for the last stretch. Do we see Stian Solberg come in, fill in a spot on the back end? But, you got Helly, you got Tyson Hines, you got that depth, you got Minty signed. Minty knows he's going to have to take it up a notch and take that next step. So, yeah, it's one of those things where the sky's the limit for this team, and it's up to Leo Carlson and Cutter Gauthier to set the standard, and then guys like Jackson Lacombe on the back end to really mentor a lot of these what will be new guys or maybe a little bit more inexperienced guys, if you will, just from their sheer games played number. This is a bat to now, fans want to win. They're expecting it. So it's definitely crunch time, but it's just it's a new dynamic. But having Coach Q at the helm, you're in good hands with a guy who's won so much. So
I was, when you said about Leo Carlson, I just saw that he signed the extension, and Cutter Gauthier hopefully the next few days, and Beckett Seneca. I think we could potentially have a three-headed hydra. Them two, and then Beckett Seneca, being that third head. Metaphorically speaking, and like you said, this is transitioning to be a more younger team, but I mean, I love the games, man. Going to a few, and then being on, listening with you guys every game, and producing the games. It's a young, exciting team, and I do want to say though, hop on the bandwagon now, because I don't want to hear any of these people like, oh, no. Now is the time to become a Ducks fan if you're not a Ducks fan, because when we win a Stanley Cup in the next 5 years, I don't want to be like, oh, we were no. So don't be a bandwagon.
Well, I said blood, sweat, and tears a couple of times, but we, no tears here. There's no friends here in Anaheim and Orange Country. There's no tears. Yeah, we're tough out here in Orange Country. Come on.
No tears, no fears. Yeah.
We'll take you. We'll take you in the end when we're, lifting Lord Stanley there. We'll take you there at the end. Our merchandise, we'll gladly accept merchandise sales, all that good jazz. We're the Ducks are crushing it. We'll take you still at the end, but join now.
I mean, I think that's the way to go, right? Because everybody, we know that the Ducks the last 8 years have been kind of rough. They had not been the best. They had not been winning, and it kind of fell into that little slump. And but now this year, making the playoffs and beating some of. I think I saw one of your. I don't know if it was a tweet or something I saw that you. By the way, I love the stuff you post. For my viewers, go follow. What's your hashtag on Instagram? Because
at Emerson Etem. Keep it simple. Just my name.
I think I saw one that you put something like, when the Ducks keep on beating your favorite teams. It was, oh man, that was great. So you have great content.
Appreciate you.
So now we've been over a little bit over an hour, and I know you're a busy man, like you said. We don't even know what you have going on, but why don't you tell us a little bit about what's kind of the next step for Emerson Etem? What's new in your life, and what's something that you're working towards at this point in your life?
Well, I think first and foremost, soaking up this time with family. Just the off season is just it's nonstop, especially with the Olympic schedule. I mean, 4 games in 1 week. A few times. It's just travel, and here I am a broadcast. I couldn't imagine the players. So yeah, it was a busy schedule. Soaking up family time, really. That's my biggest thing, I think, is ensuring with all that I got going on, the sessions I run, Ducks, other business ventures, I want to just really prioritize family in these pockets of time. So that's what I'm doing now. Just went to Hawaii, which was fantastic. Maui. Oh, it was phenomenal. Yeah. Just, I can't, we're going to Hawaii, folks. Costco travel. Come on, yeah. Costco travel. You can't beat it. We stay at the Hyatt Regency, the best on the whatever. I'm not going to try to pronounce the stretch of beach that we were there. Kananapali or whatever. That's the best you're going to get right there. Hyatt Regency, saw the luau. Oh, yeah.
I've been, honestly, so when I graduated college, I didn't pan out for multiple reasons, but I've been wanting to go to Hawaii. But I'm saving up my pennies. I'm saving up my pennies to make that trip happen. I definitely do want to go to Hawaii. Now, did you go recently? Because I've heard that there's like some best months that you go, and to because it rains a lot or whatever. So did you go recently, or did you go a few months ago?
What was it? End of June. So recent.
Okay.
We got back just around a month ago.
Okay, so folks, we're not sponsored by Costco. If they want to, they could, but you heard it from Emerson Etem. Check out Costco, the travel plans. Which, to be honest, Costco,
get in when we're cheap. Get in before our rates increase.
Costco offers great stuff. Honestly, if you have a family, you buy in bulk, but it's also, honestly, I love it, but it's a trap too, because you're like, oh, I'm gonna pick up 2 3 things, and then you come out and then your bill's like $358 with 25 cents, and I'm like, what
Every
should I
time.
buy? Right? It's that, and then it's like the whole Target thing too. I know your wife, your wife probably, when she goes on a Target run, oh, I'm gonna pick up a few things, and then $222, and it's a trap, right? But
Every time you get what you pay for, though.
yeah.
Honestly, like, financially, you can't beat it. Like, like everything's double everywhere else. Everything is twice. We go to the fancy smanch. We got a place here called Lazy Acres. It's the poor man's Erewhon. Okay, it's
Okay.
right down the road here. And then we got your Whole Foods too, right? But everything is double at Whole Foods. Like, you go to Whole Foods, it's double whatever is at Costco, same product. So boom, Costco, folks, and Costco travel. You'll thank me later. You really will. No, it's fantastic. Can't wait for it to hit up Kauai. That's on the map. That's on the game plan next summer.
Yeah, so definitely I'll continue saving my pennies, see when I make that trip out there. So just kind of wrapping up, like I said, I know you're a busy man, and it's been a pleasure, Emerson. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to coming on here to chat in the Coliseum. I appreciate it, and I don't know. You said at the beginning, we'll see how this one goes. So, hey man, if you like how this one went, when I come out and visit, hopefully I'm planning to visit you guys again to catch a Ducks game in person with all you lovely folks at the arena. We could do one. We could do one in person. We could do it at a restaurant, or find a location. I
We might
have
have to take calls, though. We might have to take calls, though, Yair.
I could do
Okay.
that. I have the crew, my cousin. Shout out to Danny and one of our friends. We have the cameras, we have the lighting, we have the mics, we have everything. So we could do it. We could do it in person, and it'll be top 8 production. So if you're down for that, I'm down for that. And then we could also start discussing our 2028 campaign slogan and all that good stuff, right?
100% campaign slogan. I gotta legitimately write down what you said moments ago. And what did you say? You said the three-headed, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm using it. But now here I am. I already forgot.
It's
Mine like a goldfish.
it, it was a
What do you say? You
three-headed
said
hydra. Remember, like in myth, Cryptology would where they had the three-headed, and then there's also those funny memes, right? Where it's like where they put like some teams that are really good, and then you have but yeah, that's what it was. Three-headed hydra.
I got to write it down, folks. I got to ask twice. If I don't write it down the first time, I got to ask again. But I made sure I wrote it down. I'm going to use that. I'm going to put it in my back pocket here. I'm doing that on a broadcast. I mean, that is all time. That's three-headed hydra. Are you kidding me? Thanks, Yair.
Try to see if you can use that in a highlight, and I'll chop it out for you and send it to you personally on a goal call, right? If
Yeah,
it were to
this
happen.
is an even trade now. I was gonna bill you for this hour plus here. I'm not. I'm just gonna trade you that. I'm gonna use that word in exchange for this podcast.
Okay, I think that's pretty fair. Maybe if you want to throw just a little shout out to me, that you got it from me
No,
now.
nothing more. What, you want the shirt off my back too, Yair? I mean, my gosh, unreal.
So just real quick, because I was curious. So are you in Anaheim? Because you say you're like 20 minutes from the stadium. Is that where you live?
Long Beach.
Long Beach.
Long
Okay.
Beach.
Okay.
Born and raised, family's right down the road, so it works out with the kids. It's fantastic.
Did you know Snoop Dogg? No, I'm just playing. Because boy, Snoop
Dude,
Dogg and Cameron Diaz.
I was gonna meet Snoop. Yeah, I was gonna meet Snoop once, and I actually signed a helmet for him. I was gonna, and something didn't work out. Well, he might have had a schedule error or whatever. But yeah, we were moments away from meeting, and never did so. But yeah, hopefully he's crushing it.
All right, well, Mr. Emerson Etem, we definitely appreciate you being here on Chat in the Coliseum. Any final words before we log off?
You're a legend. Keep doing what you're doing. You're crushing it, and thanks for having me. Look forward to the next one.
I appreciate it. Thank you, and if you're down again, we'll go ahead and make that live session happen. We'll do another podcast. So to all our lovely fans and audience, this was your boy Chicho, Chat in the Coliseum, with the one and only Emerson Etem. Thank you again for being on the show. Our video will be posted soon. Stay tuned. God bless, and go Ducks.